offensively, give me a name. I know we haven't put a name out on this show.
What on like offensive
as an OC? I mean, like, have you heard any names? Have you had any names pop up? Have you had anybody that said, "Oh, I'd like to maybe interview that guy"?
I'd go with the guy that went to Michigan to see the 5-star quarterback,
Joe Sloan.
And that was Joe Sloan. So,
and my point being is that I believe it's going to be exactly what we saw in the bowl game, and LSU is just going to make this official at some point. Right? Like, that's what it's going to be ultimately, is that Sloan is going to get the nod and the upgrade to offensive coordinator. You've already got the passing game coordinator title on Cortez Hankton and put a Co-OC title on him, which I think will probably stick as well. And then go out and find somebody to come in and be another staff member with LSU that has a skill set either in on-the-field development and recruiting and or both. And I think there's a huge premium in put on recruiting. Obviously, you can find somebody who can develop and teach, but to find somebody that can come in and jump on the offensive staff and kind of fit in and get moving, I think is what they're looking for. I don't think they're looking to shake anything up. I don't think they're looking to bring a new play caller in. I think at some point it'll become official that Joe Sloan has the title of the new offensive coordinator and that Cortez Hankton will remain the passing game coordinator with a Co-OC title as well. And that's how LSU is going to operate. As we have said here on this show, I think that it's a premium that Brian Kelly put on keeping Cortez Hankton and Joe Sloan content and happy. And that is a very solid move when you think about what they have brought into the program, right? And the success that those positions have experienced under those guys' direction. Whether it's Hankton going to put out 2 first-round picks this season and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. Malik Neighbors had the best numbers in college football, deserved to be the Biletnikoff winner. To the development of guys that have been in his room. I mean, even Brian Thomas and Neighbors themselves in the way that they've developed over the last 2 years. And I mean, Hankton, the way that he has had his hand in that and had his name in huge recruiting gets and wins every year, that it makes no sense to piss that guy off.
Shake the tree.
Yeah, or try and shake it up to a point where, people feel disrespected. So I think, it was to me, it would be that would ultimately be the plan. If it didn't work out like that, I would be very surprised.
How much do you weigh the off-field development and recruiting versus on-field production from like a recruiting and offensive coordinator, like tactically, schematically? Because it feels like you want to keep Sloan and Hankton happy because they're obviously working with Bryce Underwood the way that they've recruited the wide receiver room, but they're still, I guess, at LSU at least, they're unproven in terms of play calling, scheme. You haven't seen it yet, but it almost feels like a foregone conclusion that that's what's going to happen. Is at least Sloan is offensive coordinator, and I've heard some rumblings that maybe Dana Holgerson, a former coach who's off a buyout, just like Corey Raymond is, where you could get him maybe as an analyst who was at a local establishment eating some pasta. So he's been around Baton Rouge, so that could be like an analyst role that you're kind of have an older head in the room that can help you game plan day to day for a Saturday.
And a former play caller, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
the
yeah.
head coach.
Dana.
That man, I mean, if you thought Ed O could take down a Red Bull, Dana does it on the sideline.
Yeah. I mean, Dana's got had a bar in his office at West Virginia.
Oh, he's gonna be my new.
Like he had a full
promote him.
He had like a full service bar in his office at West Virginia.
Y'all ready to drink?
I mean,
I want to burn some couches.
I don't think Dana hides it.
No.
I think I'll have a drink.
Like Dana's
Come up with a couple plays
from the Mike Leach tree.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a pirate. I mean, he thinks himself as a pirate.
Comes in late.
Yeah.
Doesn't stay late.
Uh-uh.
I got a couple plays
Big
for
party
you.
guy.
Right.
I mean, like
he'll fit in just fine down here.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, he'll.
Got a couple plays for you.
But
Also heard Slade Nagel's name.
Continue.
Slade
ends?
Nagels keep popping up. Yeah, tight ends coach.
Well, you almost need a tight ends coach. Like I know.
So many.
That's what I'm saying. You got a room full of them
Gotta
where
develop
Trey Green just became a 5-star. So you've got all like the amount of. I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches in that room. So you'd hope that they're kind of. I don't know what. I guess you would bend if it's going to be Joe Sloan as your offensive coordinator. You would bend his ear a little bit of somebody that you want to be in lockstep with, and they both have like Louisiana ties. He's been at Tulane as an offensive coordinator, and if you want to take that step to LSU, where I don't know if he has higher aspirations than tight ends coach, I imagine he does, but that's where you start getting turnover in the room. But you still need to hire somebody, and it feels like he fits the bill. Like all the silence around the position makes it feel like Sloan, right?
Yes, it does.
And who else would be out there? Chip Kelly wants to go to the NFL.
For real.
I see that.
Did you see that?
I see that.
Offensive coordinator, not even a coach.
I see that.
Doesn't want to go back and be a head coach, just OC.
Just OC.
So
Well,
they call them things.
I mean, you could hear it when Jamar Cain was in here, how much he talked about the luxury of the NFL is now
Yes.
as a coach.
I mean, look at him. He was so relaxed.
I mean, that's like people were like, call Joe Brady. I'm like, y'all, people who believe Joe Brady is coming back to college,
He's about to go on vacation.
listen to what we are telling you. The only reason Joe Brady would ever go back to college football is because he had to. If he has an NFL, he will take an NFL quarterback's coaching job over a offensive coordinator job in college football. Unless you're going to offer him the head coaching gig at a spot like Bama, Georgia, Texas, LSU, where you're going to pay him $10 to $12 million a year, where he's got to listen. Other than that, he is not leaving the NFL lifestyle to go coach college football again. I am telling you from a first-hand account. I remember him telling us in his football office when he was recruiting Caleb Williams. I got a picture on my phone of Caleb Williams on an unofficial visit at LSU, sitting in Brady's office with him back in 2019. Caleb Williams and his dad, they loved LSU. If Brady would have stayed at LSU, they might have got him. But Brady, when they left, he was bitching the whole time about having to get on a plane, go sit in the Washington, D.C. airport, go drive around Maryland and chase this kid around when he's probably going to go to Oklahoma. Or he might not go to LSU. Like that was a scenario that Joe Brady was like, I'm not doing this. Like, this is for the birds. I mean, I'd rather just go sit in my office and plan plays all day for Drew Brees or for an NFL quarterback. And if he has that opportunity, he's never going back to college. He's not going back to college. If he has an NFL option and a college option, he's going to choose the NFL option 10 out of 10 times. Unless you're offering him a head coach gig, which he's not going to get at a school like we're talking about. You got to be a proven commodity to get the head coaching gig at some of these schools that we're talking about. And not only that, the college football schedule is approaching a point where it's seriously like it's almost impossible to work. It's almost impossible to do. There are literally no days off. And there is, and when I say like no days off, like not taking a vacation for a week or two here, like literally there's no days off where you have to be monitoring the transfer portal, NIL stuff, recruiting, staff members. I mean, it's just the NFL, you have a legitimate 3-month off season. Where the coach, they don't care where you are. They don't care what you're doing. They don't care what your hobby is. All they care about is that you're back at work the first day that you're supposed to be in the office and you get your work done for the 8 months that you're supposed to be in office. Those other 3 months are yours. You do with it what you need to do. But in college, you don't have that anymore. Like there's no such thing as that in college football anymore. Where you have, I mean, there used to be like 2 or 3 weeks in the middle of July where you could really like get away, spend time with your family, do things that you know, your hobbies, whatever you did outside of work. legitimately, man, those days are gone. Like, it is a grueling grind. I mean, like, Jamar Cain was in here last week. Now, Cain loves recruiting. Cain loves the aspect of getting out, relationship building on the road, getting to know the coaches, getting to know the players, the parents, the everybody around it. So for somebody like that, I mean, it's not as big of a. It's not as much as
it's not as much of a turnoff.
Yeah, well, it's not as much as he doesn't look at it as like it's grueling. I mean, like, he loves it. So if you have somebody that really embraces that part of it, well, I mean, then you've got somebody that you probably want to look at in hiring. But when you have somebody that says, "Hey, look, I'm anti-recruiting. Don't put me on the road. I'm trying to spend time with my family. I want to be, I like to fish. I like to golf. I like to whatever it is, whatever their hobbies are." Then, I mean, like, it's only going to be a matter of the time, man, before you get eaten up in college football now. I mean, it's a young man's game. And Joe Brady is a young man who does not want it. Like, he doesn't want that college life. He don't want the college football life. He'd rather be coaching Josh Allen.
Yeah, a little bit easier.
Right?
Well, and look at, if you're looking at the recent hires LSU's made, look at who they brought in. It's everybody that loves recruiting. Like, for everything that we've heard about Matt House, that wasn't his favorite thing to do. And if you don't marry scheme and talent, then you're going to be on the outside looking in. And now you have guys when Corey Raymond, Bo Davis, Blake Baker that love to do both. They love to recruit, and LSU has built the staff that is going forward for 2025 and 2024 that is going to be an impressive, at least in the recruiting room. And you're starting to